missteps, some stumbles, some words that perhaps she'd want to take back. The latest example, an interview with the British newspaper The Guardian, Mrs. Clinton said she and her husband pay full income taxes unlike a lot of other people who are truly well off, and added that American voters, quote, don't see me as part of the problem. Now you couple that with what she told Diane Sawyer in an ABC News interview earlier a couple of weeks ago when she said, quote, that she and President Clinton were dead broke when they left the White House. That choice of words has invited questions about the family finances. Joining me now to talk about those questions and the political implications, a guy who understands politics, offers advice, wisdom, and counsel to the Clintons from time to time. Via telephone, my old pal Lanny Davis. Lanny, usually you and I are debating these issues, but today I'm not here to debate. I just have a question. Is Hillary in a situation where people imagine her to be a better likely candidate than she turns out to be when she gets on the stump?
Well, first of all, it's nice to talk to you again. I certainly wish you were back in Congress because we need, even people I disagree with, we need some honest voices having good debates the way you and I used to. But now on the radio, it's nice to be on your show. Look, people forget that in 2008, she won 18 million votes in every major state primary after the New Hampshire primary. She didn't lose a major state. She was elected and reelected in the state of New York in her own right. So she's already proven to be a great candidate. Secondly, we are in the funny season now where there's only one person in slow news days that the political talking heads, you're not one of them, J.D., have nothing to talk about. So this is just Hillary Clinton time. No matter what she says or does, it's kind of gotcha. And finally, most importantly, the substance of what she said was actually 100% true. When the Clintons arrived in Washington after 12 years as governor, Bill Clinton didn't have two nickels to rub together, and that's just a simple fact. When he left the White House in 2001, he was $8 million in debt. That's a simple fact. Now, she might have chosen different words about going forward, how much money they've made, but I don't think America really blames people for making money. I think they blame people for not paying their fair share of taxes, which, of course, the Clintons have paid in six figures over and over again now that they've managed to make some money using their, I think, their celebrityhood to make speeches and do good in the world as Bill Clinton has done.
Well, Lanny, let's move more to the branding. And you mentioned something in there about Hillary out front now doing these interviews, doing the book tour. It basically becomes all about her with all the talk about possibly another presidential run. But it is worth noting this week that in terms of the book, despite all the attention, the interviews, the book tour, it's already dropped out of Amazon's top 10. Is that a sign that well, Hillary just may not be the front runner people think she was going to be?
Well, it could be a sign that Martians may land in Phoenix, Arizona next week. So I guess we don't know the answer to that.
No, seriously, Lanny.
Seriously, I don't think the sales of a book, especially a pretty heavy 600-pager, which I loved reading, but a lot of people wouldn't regard it as popular fiction. I don't think that the sales of her book, having been number one on every bestsellers list when it first came out, is particularly telling us very much about her political appeal if she runs for president. Look, ultimately in October 2016, all this stuff is just, stuff that we talk about right now because it's a slow news day. In October of 2016, whoever is the Republican nominee and whoever is the Democratic nominee is going to have to persuade the American people what they're going to do in the future, especially about an economy where young people are having a difficult time finding jobs, and which still is a stagnant economy for people of color. And so the economy, stupid, is still, and the future is still the most important issue that will decide the election, and not all this nonsense that we're talking about, whether she used the word broke or not. no one's going to remember in October of 2016.
All right, fair enough, Lanny. And just to show you we're equal opportunity at taking a look at prospective candidates, a guy whose political fortunes have fallen as of late on the Republican side of the aisle, New Jersey Governor Christie. Friday, he spoke at the Faith and Freedom Coalition. Let's take a listen to a bit of what he had to say.
People also have to know from a principled position where you stand. Now, when I decided to run for governor in 2009 and met with supporters, potential supporters, and political consultants, they went through, that checklist of issues that everybody goes through to find out where's the candidate stand. And they asked me where I stood on the issue of life. And I said, I'm pro-life. And they said to me, there's never been a pro-life candidate elected statewide in New Jersey since Roe versus Wade, and we don't believe one can be elected. So you mean to think about this issue? And I said to them, I already have. I have thought about the issue, and this is my position. And what we did in the campaign was to speak very frankly to people about the sanctity of life and how I believe that every life is a gift from God that's precious and must be protected.
So you hear him there, Lanny. About a minute and a half left. Your take on Christie courting evangelical voters?
Well, first of all, if every life needs to be protected, and I respect that as a religious view, and I respect that as a moral view for certain people, I truly respect it. Is there an exception for women who get pregnant from incest and rape? That life is just as holy, and yet Christie didn't say, P.S., I would make an exception. So he's basically a hypocrite because he speaks out of both sides of his mouth. And we know that because when he had the press conference where he said, I didn't know about the George Washington Bridge closure, he never added, but I knew that there was traffic at the bridge, and I never picked up the phone and said, what the heck is going on?
Well,
so
Lanny, you do not disappoint. You come out guns blazing. I thought you'd at least say, well, politics is the art of addition, and he went to put forth his best case. But we'll save that for another debate, another day. Want to thank you
I didn't want to disappoint you, J.D.
Well, you come as billed, Lanny, and I look forward to it. We'll have another discussion in the not-too-distant future.
Thank you so much,
Thanks for
J.D.
joining us today on Newsmax TV. You hear Lanny Davis there. He does not disappoint, always in an attack mode for Republicans. What about Christie and Hillary Clinton, their respective futures? Why don't you tweet us your comments at Newsmax TV?